Hello, Taurus. Thank you so much, as always, you guys, for being here. Okay, Taurus, so looking at your first week of December, you pulled the Call of the Night, Power, and Queen of My World. This one packed a punch. And it's interesting how the Call of the Night is what you're pulling. Instead of it showing that you're being restricted. Now, that's only going to be for some of you, and we'll get into this. But the Call of the Night is like you being pulled to get out of your comfort zone. It's time for you to go experience something different. But there may be a reason why you haven't allowed yourself to do that. So, power, there are two very beautiful things that came out of these two. So this one talks about how this card reminds you of your spiritual inheritance and sovereign self, and very strongly connected to Queen of My World. But it talks about how you may be in the midst of a power struggle or a need to reclaim control from another person or situation. So I think for a lot of you, this is going to be you reclaiming the power that you hold within you to change your circumstances. Especially for those of you who are in situations where you feel like your ability to experience different things is being controlled, whether that's by a person or not. Now, Queen of My World, this is like the warning to whoever is treading in your personal space right now. It says, "Be fearful of my world because it is paved of my hopes and dreams, and you have no power here. I am greater than the stars and more beautiful than the moon." So there's a part of you that I feel like here, it's not about reclaiming it. It's already there. So the power within you to change your circumstances is there, and it's going to be felt like really intensely. But on top of that, there's like a warning to, whoever is in your space right now, justice. So, right? Accountability, making amends, correcting a situation, fair and balanced choices. But that's big. But some of you are going to be feeling this urge to experience something that I feel like you weren't allowed to, is the best way to say it, for whatever reason. But the person that's around you right now, oh boy, right? This is like the Queen of Swords, for sure. Your overall, the Ten of Swords. Wow, man. Okay, so, right? Like, it's over. It is over. And I think that with this being the overall, and this is about you finally getting past how it has affected you, how it has hurt you, and how it has made you think, right? Because we're talking about the end of a cycle here. So getting the swords out of the back, getting the swords out of the mind, and not repeating that same kind of story of, this is what I experienced, this is what was done to me. It is over. And I feel this like I'm tired of it. In the past, the Nine of Pentacles, and I like that you're pulling that through, because to me, it's, being the Pentacles, you're talking about enjoying the things that you've worked hard for, enjoying the finer things in life. And if that isn't the best card for Taurus, right? Like, what the hell is? But this is also about independence and self-reliance. And it's affected your outer world in such a way where you get to enjoy your life. And this is you pulling on this from the past and bringing it forward now. So there's this need to become separate from or independent from what caused this kind of like painful ending that you're done with. Like, I can't, it's hard for me to describe the vibration that's felt off of it. It's like, I'm so finished with this. I'm so tired of it. I'm so done with it. In the present, the Ace of Wands, perfect, right? So needing to get back to a place of independence in order for you to take advantage of a new beginning in your life. Coming out of the Ten of Swords, the Ace of Wands, it's perfect. This is having passion again. But I really think it's about removing yourself from a situation that has caused you a lot of pain. It's time for it to be done now, right? But I want to see what's going on here, because we're talking about an ending of a situation in a very painful way. You know, is this Ace of Wands this kind of like passion being ignited in a situation that may end up like this again, right? Like, we don't want to repeat patterns. But, you know, the aces, right? Like, for better or for worse, it's what you do with it. But this is the new beginning for you, right? Future conditions, the King of Wands. And this is kind of what I was talking about. So this is the feeling that's coming through from this. Like, you're really done with this. And this may have to do with someone who is dealing with ego problems. Like, their ego gets in the way of being able to create like a new start. And for some of you, it may be that I don't want to do this again. You know, it's too painful. Especially if this is a repeat of a situation where you have had to gain your sense of self-worth, if I could talk right, in independence, right? So the King of Wands kind of feels iffy for me, but that's because of the Ten of Swords being the overall here. You have an opportunity to have a new beginning right now. And it is up to you on whether or not you choose to be done with this cycle and create something completely new, or possibly rekindling a situation with somebody who, like I said, there's this feeling of like ego issues. Now, the King of Wands, though, coming out of the Ace of Wands, when you're talking about, you know, starting something new, there's also wisdom there on how to follow your passion, where your passions lead you. But I'm feeling like this is the influence that is responsible for you being tired and done with, you know, the same kind of situation with someone. Wow, man. Your best path to follow, the Eight of Wands. So, you know, it's time now to move quickly. This is like needing to act quickly and getting things, you know, back on track. You know, communication may be coming through that's going to require you to do something immediately. But you have to get up. Like, you have to get up. But I think that this is also, things are going to change quickly. And it's going to require you to, you know, be able to make quick decisions, make quick actions. And I almost feel like there's this, like, advice coming through for Taurus of, like, you need to get over this and you need to do it quickly. It's interesting. It's not the advice where, you know, typically when you're looking at a painful ending, you would think that the advice would be to give yourself a minute to heal. This is like, it's almost urgent. You know, it's time to be done with this now, because things are going to start to change quickly and it's going to require you to act. In your environment, the Eight of Swords. So, and this is kind of what I was talking about, right? Like, there's this feeling of, there's the possibility of a new beginning for you. But because we're still focusing on the Ten of Swords, it's like, do you really want to rekindle the passion for a situation, again, that has caused you so much pain? I think that for you, it's like you don't see how that's possible. The Eight of Swords is like not seeing a way forward. being stuck in certain thoughts and it just going in the same loop. But I think the positive of this is that, you know, if there is an opportunity to rekindle a situation here, these thoughts may block you from creating another situation with somebody that just ends up, you know, hurting you. But you got to move quickly out of it. Like, there's this need to get over this quick. Your hopes and your fears, the Eight of Pentacles, right? Like, this is how much work you're putting into something. And fearing that it's like wasted effort. Because, you know, this is a lot of time. And, you know, it isn't like the Three of Pentacles where there's this question of, you know, whether or not things are going to work out. It's more of like, how much are you willing to work on this? This is almost like dealing with somebody that's constantly talking about like working on their issues. And you kind of like being the support, but going through the same thing where things just end in a really bad way. I would say that, you know, with the Eight of Pentacles, really think about all of the effort that you have put into the situation and what you have gotten out of it. If, you know, it's really worth doing again. Especially with you coming in with the Nine of Pentacles. And again, this kind of feeling of, I need to separate myself from this. And this is something you've already done. You know, and this whole situation would be completely different if we weren't looking at the Ten of Swords to see overall. You know, this new beginning is for you to do with what you choose. But if you can't see how things are going to move forward, right? Like, why go through this kind of a situation again? Wow, man. And then coming out the Hermit, right? You got the fellow earth sign, Virgo. Yeah, this would be you, again, you know, independence, separating yourself, removing yourself from the influence of somebody. You know, now with the King of Wands, right, it automatically triggers that feeling of, this is somebody that we're attracted to for whatever reason. But I'm looking at somebody that can't see past themselves, because if they could, we would not be looking at this painful ending and you wanting solitude and separation from it. But with the Hermit and Queen of Wands, yeah, the Hermit's like, I feel like for some of you this may be a no contact moment. The King of Pentacles. And then the Hierophant. Ooh. Ooh. And there you are, right? So, first of all, with the Queen of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles, this to me immediately brings up the image of a very powerful woman who knows how to take care of herself. And it isn't about, like, I don't need you, I can take care of myself. It's more of a, I choose to be involved with you because the attraction is there. But there isn't anything other than that that you need from someone else. And you are going back to this and kind of like bringing this confidence and this power back through, right? Whether you're female or male, however you identify, doesn't matter here. This is the internalization of confidence, feeling good, looking good, and it being reflected outward, attracting attention, right? Being there to help guide others in following their own passions. You know, this is, and you've got this pairing going on, right? There's something about this that gets you interested. The attraction is there. But there's also an attraction to what is going on for you in your own world without the influence of somebody else. And then not only that, but what else is available to you? The King of Pentacles and looking at the Ace of Wands with the Eight of Swords, this is like somebody who could provide, you know, what is necessary for things to go in a really good direction, but they choose not to. And this could also be about somebody who is just like stuck in a situation where there's these obligations, and you know, with the Hierophant, right, following that would make sense. But the thing is you know, I'm still looking at dealing with an opposing ego and somebody who has had like ego issues, and it's because of that you have these like kind of painful endings. And with the Hierophant, right, if you're gonna make a commitment to this, you know, be sure that you're willing to put in the effort. And I think that that's kind of like where you're going within and asking yourself, is this really worth restarting? Because the possibility for that Ace of Wands to be anything else is absolutely there. It doesn't have to be a repeat of another situation. Because this is something that I feel like you really want to remove yourself from. There's this feeling of like wanting freedom with her too, the freedom to express. And you have this King of Pentacles here, but with the Hierophant, right, like this could also be about somebody else who isn't wanting to fully commit. But for you, with the Hierophant, we're talking about what you know works, right? And having, you know, a very deep spiritual understanding of difficult changes and how to navigate that practically. But with the Hierophant, there's conformity and there's this construction. And it's interesting because of Call of the Night, right? Like, you don't have to commit to something that you know is not going to end up any different than what it already has. And it may suck, but yeah, it definitely has to be over. Inspiration with the Ace of Wands being there, that's good. Prosperity. And then intention. And with the Hermit, yeah, it would make sense. Now, I'm looking back at this Eight of Swords, and the other thing that I got from this was, you know, if you feel like you're stuck in a situation here, it may be that you are the one that's going to have to end it, but it may not go in a very good direction, it being the Ten of Swords, but that may be because of another person. But new inspiration for a different direction in your life where you feel good about what you're doing and what you're providing for yourself, I think, is where this prosperity is coming in. But intention, be clear on what your intentions are. And with the Hermit, right, give yourself a minute to look at that. But don't stay there too long, because I worry that for some of you, because of the Hermit coming out on this and looking at this feeling of like, it's time to act and you need to do so quickly. We need to get over this quickly. There's the potential for you to get stuck in this kind of like, and not really the Hangman, because we're not talking about you having to change perspective. It's more of, you know, kind of like being in a stalemate, or like everything kind of being stalled until you're able to kind of process what's going on. Like, don't get stuck there. Like, things have to happen quickly. Have faith in your dreams. And then the end, yeah, the end of a tough cycle approaches. Okay, so Taurus, what I want to say here is that there's an opportunity to begin something new with somebody where you've already experienced a painful ending, where you've had to, you know, find your independence from it again. Don't, you know, allow yourself to get stuck in a certain way of thinking, because this situation needs to change quickly in order for a different opportunity to open up for you. But with the Hermit, don't stay in solitude for too long, because you don't want it to turn into isolation. You know, and the other thing is make sure that what you're committing yourself to is what works for you, especially spiritually right now.